Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. We're starting here with Black Myth Wukong, specifically whether or not there was ever actually an exclusivity deal in place. This was a very big story that made the rounds and was very prevalent all throughout 2024. Where Black Myth Wukong released on PlayStation 5 and PC, but not on the Xbox Series consoles. And there was a lot of back and forth with this, a lot of insiders coming out claiming that it was because of a secret PlayStation exclusivity deal, many people blaming the Xbox Series S and certain limitations. And so to start off 2025, we actually got official clarification from the director of Black Myth Wukong himself. And so if we head over to his post here, he says, although there were no big surprises, I still felt a little emotional after getting all of them. Everyone's fighting power is so terrifying, but the only thing missing is the Xbox robe. It seems a bit wrong, but that's 10 gigabytes of shared memory. It's really impossible to get it without several years of optimization experience. Now, there are a couple of things I want to say here with this, and I want to start with there actually not being an exclusivity deal between Sony and Game Science. This is something that I'm seeing a lot of people brushing under the rug, pretending it never happened, having, I guess, short-term memory loss or something, where a lot of people are just acting like last year there was not a massive deal made about the reporting of there being potentially an exclusivity deal. In fact, it was so bad that Microsoft actually had to come out and acknowledge it. And this is the official statement that Microsoft gave last year in regards to Black Myth Wukong not being available on Xbox. Quote, "We are excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S and are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We cannot comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that." End quote. Now, the part here that everybody freaked out about was we can't comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders. Keep in mind, Microsoft put this statement out at the height of the rumors being spread by supposed insiders that there was an exclusivity deal. With what the director of Black Myth Wukong is saying today, it confirms what I think a lot of us already knew. There is no exclusivity deal. I tried telling people that if there was an exclusivity deal, Sony would be shouting it from the rooftops. And people now want to pretend that they did not completely drag PlayStation and this game over there potentially being an exclusivity deal. So basically, they lied. It was made up. Turns out it was never real. The other thing I want to focus on here is the amount of animosity that I'm seeing towards the Xbox Series S. Now, it's no secret that the Xbox Series S is much less powerful than both the PS5 and the Series X, and therefore requires extra effort and extra optimization. And there have been some issues like what we saw with Baldur's Gate 3, where it's like, listen, the only way we can get this game running on this console is we have to cut a main feature, that being split screen co-op. So it is disingenuous to make it seem like the Series S is something it's not, and that's what I've been seeing. People are making it seem like the Series S is some kind of monster beast console that can do anything. The reality is it's a capable console that requires a bit of extra effort and optimization experience from developers to be able to get the most out of. That is what the Series S is, and people have been pointing out that, listen, man, this is Game Science's fault. This is due to their lack of experience. We cannot place any blame on the Xbox Series S because look at all of the other games that are running on it. And to be fair, yeah, that's true. There are many other demanding games running on the Series S, albeit at very compromised levels, but they're running nonetheless. And so there are basically two problems that I'm seeing with the reactions to this news from the director of Black Myth Wukong. Number one, people are not acknowledging how big of a deal it was that people really believed, and it was circulating multiple times, that Sony was accused of striking a secret exclusivity deal and money hatting the game. Number two, people are completely overlooking the fact that the director of the game literally says we couldn't really get this game running on the Series S because we simply do not have enough experience with optimizing for different pieces of hardware like what we're seeing with the Series S. The final thing I'll say here, and I think this actually is very likely, quite a few people are thinking that this might just be a cop-out from the director of Black Myth Wukong, that actually it's not that they couldn't figure it out, it's that they really just don't want to figure it out, mainly because they don't think it's going to be worth the time and effort. And to be honest, can you blame them? I mean, this game is a mega hit, it's a mega success. The reality of Black Myth Wukong is it does not need Xbox at all. It never needed Xbox. It sold over 20 million copies. They're doing just fine. So, you know, when you think about that, it's kind of hard to really completely blame them if they feel as though they have to dump an immense amount of time and resource and effort into figuring out how to get this game running on the Series S. But I also understand why some people who are playing on Xbox would be upset that they would really want to see the developer do that. But at the end of the day, the thing that I really am focused on is the fact that Sony got completely blasted last year for an exclusivity deal that was non-existent. There was no deal. Sony didn't money hat anything. And, you know, all the insiders who were really running with that, I don't know where they got their information, but it was completely false. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next topic here, which talks about PlayStation 5, PlayStation 3 native emulation and how it is potentially being researched and prototyped. Being reported by WCCF Tech, native emulation of PS3 games on PS5 could become a reality in the future, as the possibility is reportedly being researched and prototyped. Developer Implicit Conversions, the studio handling the PlayStation Classics ports on PS5, lists on its official website a roadmap that it is researching and prototyping the possibility of PS3 emulator package for Syrup, the engine that powers the other PS Classic ports. The Dreaming About tag, however, suggests that native PS3 emulation could be years away. So yeah, I thought that this was worth bringing up because I still see quite a few PlayStation players hoping that we will end up seeing native PS3 games running on the PS5. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen anytime soon. I think that this is something at the end of the day Sony is researching and they are keeping in mind, because I just don't think they're going to be able to keep those PS3 server blades running forever. Surely they're not going to be able to do that. It would just be easier if they could figure out a way to get these games natively on current gen hardware. But I don't think it's something that's going to come to fruition, if it ever does, until sometime during the PlayStation 6 generation. But the fact that the studio that works on these PlayStation Classics is talking about it could definitely be a hint that, yeah, they're beginning to look into it. So let me know what you think about that. We're going to move on to the final topic of the video, which talks a little bit about the Nintendo Switch 2 and how people are really trying to figure out if this upcoming Nintendo console is going to be able to match the PS4 Pro's power. Being reported by Push Square, it says it's 2025 and Nintendo still hasn't officially announced the Switch 2. The company has acknowledged some kind of new hardware, confirming it will be backwards compatible with existing software, but we're still waiting for a reveal trailer despite the hardware leaks. Earlier in the week, photographs of the motherboard for the new system were allegedly dumped online. Although their authenticity is still up for debate, it has, however, sparked a series of discussions about how powerful the new platform will be. There are some disputes over exactly what chip the manufacturer is using and what this means for real-world performance. Although it's expected the Switch 2 will use some version of NVIDIA's DLSS technology to upscale images, similar to PS5's PSSR solution, but the question still remains, how close will the Switch 2 be to the PS4 Pro? This is a particularly pertinent detail when it comes to third-party support, because many major games are still releasing on Sony's last-gen console. So there are some people who are hopeful that the Switch 2 is actually going to be able to surpass the power output of the PS4 Pro in terms of performance, while others are skeptical that it's actually not even going to be able to match the original PS4. But, you know, the big thing here and the big takeaway is that the success of the Nintendo Switch was not contingent on its power, right? It's not because of how powerful the Switch is. It's because of the games and the form factor. And so it wouldn't be that surprising, in my opinion, if the Switch 2 ends up being quite a bit less powerful than maybe people were expecting, because Nintendo knows that's not their selling point. However, I do also understand why people who maybe were a little bit frustrated with the lack of strong third-party support, or, just third-party support not being nearly as strong as it potentially could have been, I could understand why they would be a bit disappointed if the Switch 2 cannot even match the PS4 Pro. I do understand that, but apparently the Switch 2 reveal is right around the corner, so we are going to find out very soon. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.